What second mark you at?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, okay. 30 seconds when I was at 8. We'll see it on there. All right.
Ready? Welcome to the official interview with Paris Pullen, digital content creator extraordinaire. How you doing, brother?
How you doing, man?
Nice to see you. My name
Happy to
is
be
Estell.
here.
I will be your host for this evening. You're going to learn a little bit about Paris this evening and who he is and what he's got going on. So just tune in, sit back, relax. We're going to kick this thing off.
Let's do it.
Paris, tell us a little bit of what we need to know about you right quick, brother.
Let's see. Where you want me to start? Let me start from origin. What do you want?
Start off by telling us exactly what you're doing right now.
Right now, we are creating a digital content agency. A little bit different than what a lot of people are doing. They're like focusing on digital growth, like growth hacking, Instagram, how to get more followers. I'm focused around creating a digital commercial.
Okay.
Taking what Comcast did with the commercials, what radio did with personalities, and creating custom content for advertisements for their clients, and then putting that where we are now. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Instagram is the new 15-second commercial.
Right. 60.
15 seconds.
Right. Tell me why you're right and I'm wrong.
Well, 60 seconds would be the post. So
Right.
60 seconds would actually be the show. So your timeline is going to be more focused on what you're putting out on a day-to-day basis. So think of BET, we're coming to you for music. Your stories is where you get to show your clientele of what you're creating, that 15 seconds of here's the trailer, go look at the post.
Right. All right. So that's where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know this, and they might not ever know unless they listen to this interview, but we're basically brothers.
Basically.
So, our moms are sisters. We grew up together.
Mm-hmm.
So I know a little bit about you, but those who are watching do not. We know where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you come from? How'd you get here?
Dayton, Ohio.
All right.
Dayton, Ohio. 88. Born in 88, August of Leo. So started in Dayton, Ohio. Went from magnet schools to trade schools, trumpet, anything talented. My mom had me in a lot of different schools and different activities, kind of, I guess, getting me ready to take on all of these talents into one space.
Right.
So Stivers, Patterson, I did graphic communications there, which is kind of, I think that kind of set me on the road of hands-on. That time we were doing a lot of silk screening and Photoshop and Illustrator. So I was learning the basics, logos, the basic graphic things that you would learn in college. We learned it in high school.
Okay.
So that brought me here when my mom came here for vacation and came back with house keys in 2007.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you who don't know, he is a Leo, right?
I'm a Leo.
Now, Leo is Greek for asshole. Many of you are, if you're a Leo. You don't have the traditional background of somebody that's as skilled as you in digital marketing, meaning you didn't go to college or you don't have institutional education, but you did study graphic design in high school.
Yes.
So for you, and a lot of people watching that are also trying to do the same thing, how did you manage to acquire the amount of information you have without the educational background that one thinks they might need?
Okay, so obviously YouTube and things like that, like it's just, you pick your poison on how you're able to learn, right? So that you can create. So I learned quickly when I was at Patterson in high school that hands-on was my way. Like I didn't really need anybody to teach me.
Right.
I could watch them and I can kind of fall in line. So YouTube and things like that really, it's easy for me to pick it up, if you will. So I can watch a YouTube video and kind of pull from it the same way I can watch somebody shoot a basketball and kind of learn the form. I don't really need you to hold my hand and do it. So in those spaces, you have some people that are going to prevail from learning from a book or a teacher or step by step. I'm one of those people, you kind of throw me in the race and I kind of roll with it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I've seen you do some crazy stuff. And what I mean by that is we've literally came up with ideas, wrote it down, studied it for a week, and we haven't had necessarily the training.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen you stay up for 24 to 48 hours,
mm-hmm.
and we'll learn something, and then we immediately apply it the next day. Psychologically, how were you able to do that?
I don't really think about it from a psychological standpoint. I'm thinking about it from a standpoint of I don't have a degree.
Right.
So my way through the door is to just be better than you.
Right.
There's a lot of people with degrees, and if we go on paper, they're gonna outqualify me.
Right.
But if we go on skill and execution and how we can infiltrate this market, ideas, innovation, anything that's going to grow the company outside of, you know what, you cut here nuts and bolts, which I've always understood that every job that you're going to go to, they're going to teach you their way of doing it anyways.
Right.
So unless you're a doctor or you're in one of those positions where you really need to have that degree in order to operate on somebody, you can kind of learn a lot of those things and put yourself in the position of just outworking people, like, especially if they're buying you for your niche or
Right.
your style.
Okay. So, but you did say that in high school you did have some form of training.
Mm-hmm.
So, what kind of high school kid were you, and what was the reason why you didn't go the traditional route and get into school if you had that background already?
I was the high school kid who was selling the senior T-shirts, but I wasn't just selling them.
Right.
I was buying the Gildan T-shirts from the wholesaler of the school. The graphic design, like, their infrastructure was put together where they were doing outside contracts anyways because we were in a business building. So they were allowing me to use the school account to buy the T-shirts at wholesale. So I learned that wholesale buying early in the game. And then I actually paid guys at night to stay after to help me actually silkscreen, print the shirts, run them through the heater. And the funny thing is I actually created all of the designs, put them out to the senior class first to let them vote on them. And then I put them out in the order of what voted the best.
Okay. So how did that translate to you not deciding not to go to college?
My grades weren't that good. Like, I was so busy trying to figure out how to be the guy and make the money and like have all of it, because my dad's best friend was making millions of dollars in real estate. Like, I had already decided entrepreneurship was what I was going to do.
Right.
I got it in school, you know, I give you class clown or best dressed and all of that. Like, that's what I was getting, like, most likely to fucking kill it.
Right.
So even in those spaces, mentally, I was ready to go get money. Like, I think college a lot of the times is a play. If you don't know what you want to do,
Right.
it gives you 4 more years.
Right.
I didn't need 4 more years to go get money.
Gotcha. Because you knew what it was.
Yeah.
All right. So we already started with high school, but let's go back before this, because I'm sure during your younger years there were some things that sort of molded your brain to be in an entrepreneurial mindset.
Mm-hmm.
What things or major events in your life do you think sort of shaped you to, at that point, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade,
Mm-hmm.
to already be there?
I wasn't shaped. I was figuring it out. I'm still figuring it out.
Right.
Like, at no point am I like, I got it all. It's piece by piece. It's stuff I'm pulling from 5-6 years. You know this. I'm
Right.
pulling stuff from 5-6 years ago that is working now, that I have the tools to put those things in play. Like, all of the ideas that you're coming up with, it's cyclical, right? So
Right.
everything's gonna come back. You couldn't afford the denim jacket when you were younger. Comes back, you got the money, denim jackets are hot again.
Right.
It's simple. So I don't necessarily think that that I have it figured out or had it figured out in high school. I just knew what I didn't want to do.
Right.
Like, college would have been a waste of time for me. It would have been high school all over again. I would have been more like everything that I would have been doing in college, like chasing girls, and I would have been doing it in college.
Right.
Except for I wouldn't have had no money coming in.
Right.
So for me, it was a no-brainer.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that your dad's friend was
Mhm.
already a millionaire, so that was sort of one person that you sort of looked up to.
Mm-hmm.
Who else sort of mentored you or had a heavy impact on you as a young child or adolescent?
My assistant principal, for one.
Okay.
Faircloth. So senior year, we hated each other, especially when he first came in. It was his first year. My cousin had just left 2 years ago. Obviously, whoever was senior before that, they get the playground. I'm senior. It's my house. We have the assistant principal coming, who's a young black guy, got his doctorate real young. So, I mean, you know, the guy with the big fat, he got the suits, big fat tie. Like, he came to change things my year that bad, and it wasn't happening. So we kind of bumped heads a couple of times, and one day he came to me and was like, y'all suck, man. What? And what he meant and what he further explained was, you can't tell the difference between the seniors and the rest of the classes here. Like the guys weren't separate. So it kind of piqued my interest. So we started building a group called RYBT, which was Respected Young Businessmen of Tomorrow. We started bringing the first black prison wardens. My dad's best friend came and spoke, and just a bunch of African American guys that were uplifting in a place where it wasn't being uplifted at the time. I mean, Dayton hit the recession before, Ohio as a whole, or Midwest hit the recession years before a lot of other states felt it. Like we had companies picking up and leaving, for God's sake. So in those spaces, we had the opportunity to show a group of guys, not just seniors, almost every guy signed up that was worth something at the time. They showed up, they were a part of it. I mean, we were doing water balloon flights by the end of the senior year. We stay out there and clean it up. Like it was, we learned that you could do what you want to do as long as you knew the proper authorities and they knew you had everything handled and wasn't going to leave it in a misplace.
Okay. Now, family-wise, you are a bit of a daddy's boy. Dive into that a little bit and tell me sort of the effect that your dad had on you, the effect that he has on you, and how that sort of made you into what we see now.
On the record, my dad's next best thing next to God. In the sense of, I got a chance to watch a guy be in a relationship, handle that relationship, be the man in that relationship, be a provider, be an equal as well. Like, just to see a guy, for the record, my stepmother went through dialysis when I was in high school. Turns out my dad is a dialysis technician, the irony, right? So to see somebody change in physical, but somebody still have your back, like all of that stuff that they tell you when you're young, like don't get with somebody just because she's pretty or this, like check all the boxes. Like it was serious. So to see somebody to have all of that and to have the art and the skill and photography and the creative and the style,
right?
Like it's a good example. And the funny thing is we didn't do a lot of talking growing up. Like it wasn't a super good relationship. Like we're good now, but it also took him to see where I was, me to become who I needed to become the way I was watching him. He's having a chance to kind of watch me in my element.
Right. Well, you mentioned his style. And
we cold, man.
Your dad's pretty fly guy.
We cold, man.
You were wearing a lot of things that adult men were wearing in middle school and high school. How did your dad affect your style?
I never wanted to sag, but it was definitely a don't have your pants down type of thing. And then he's all, him being dressed and in the ties and in the hard bottoms and stuff like that. Like for me, it was good. Like obviously my cousins had Jordans and Air Force Ones and I was interested in that. But having that, I don't know, it's just something about like hard bottoms and that style, like the level of it, the taste level of it is something that's always intrigued me. And when my dad was dressing like that, it wasn't a going somewhere special. He was going to Walmart.
Right.
But he was dressed in some nice fitted jeans and a t-shirt. I mean, and it's not even always the tie, the shirt. It's the Paul Newman thing. Like it's classic.
Right.
It's a classic style. He's just swaggy, if you will. And it's not just the clothes of it, it's his appeal, him being relaxed, his tone, how he treats people, his ability to smile for whatever's in his head, not just walking around upset. So it's being totally aware of what you have going on and being in your space and not letting everything else affect you. And I feel like that has taught me to kind of be able to not just wear clothes, but to be able to be in that essence of being a great guy.
Right. Well, he sort of paved the way for you to be an individual. How did your style separate you from everybody else?
I mean, it's the first thing you see when you walk through the door. Like in society today, obviously there are stigmas of this is how you dress and you're a thug, right? Or this is how you dress and you can be taken seriously. For me, I can title either way, and I don't feel like I don't get the backlash. And I think it has to do with the way I carry myself. The style side, for me, it has never been like, yo, here's how you wear a garment, or here's this. Even when I'm showing my guys how to do it, it's never, my style thing is not fashion. It is very much, this is how I felt today, this is where I'm going. It's very etiquette. And it takes effect in the business offerings that I get because I'm the first person they see. So to be smart, well-dressed, attractive, just like the pretty girl in the room. She got the job. But now she gets the opportunity to show that she can actually kick ass at it too.
Right. All right. So there's this quote, and it says, "You can't expect to run with lions when you're tired from running with men."
Mm-hmm.
Confidence has never been something you've been short of, right?
Right.
Besides you being a Leo
Mm-hmm.
and an asshole,
Both of those.
why is that?
Not watching everybody else. The people that I'm watching are your Diddy's, your Kenny Burns, your Hoes, those people. So people that are pushing the totem pole, like they've created their lane and they're not in cruise control. They mashing the fucking gas. Like they didn't get in it and was like, okay, I'm a music artist now. Let me sit back and kind of just record and do this. No, they're creating every space that you can possibly create in, and then going to collaborate with other spaces to open up the doors for other people. And watching them and knowing if I can sit in the same room with these people and have conversations with them and talk on the same levels about how we can approach. And not only that, you might have money, so you're detached from the situation a little bit more. Like, I'm the person you want to sell to.
Right.
So knowing that I'm the person you want to sell to and that people want to buy from me keeps me in a confidence level.
Okay.
On top of the obviously look good, feel good, and smell good where you're welcome.
Okay.
And you're there.
So how are you meshing digital content creation and fashion style, the other side of you?
They go hand in hand. So I'm dressed every day. And obviously if I'm doing something, I'm definitely dressed. So everything's a commercial. So if I'm selling the fragrance or I'm doing a club, like we're in a club every week, Saturdays, I have on a suit every Saturday. It's a part of my stage thing. It's a part of my presence. That's what they expect from me when they see me, is for me to address you like the boss.
Right.
So I dress that part. I look at it as, this is my artistry. So me getting dressed is my artistry. It's my music. Taking the pictures and stuff like that is how we create it into an album that we can distribute, right?
Right.
So anything that I'm doing, I have to come in my concert outfit.
Right.
So for me, any event I'm going to, if I'm playing the host or the influencer or working with a brand, the style plays a major part in it, because a lot of times that's what they're hiring me for anyways, because people are interested in my style.
Okay. Well, it's easy to talk about the good stuff, right? Like, we can talk about all the successes you had, but everybody knows that failure is the best teacher. Tell myself and the viewers a little bit about some of the trials and tribulations you've came across, you've overcome, and sort of pitfalls that you learned from along the way.
Okay. Where do we start? I've been fired for probably 95% of the jobs I've ever worked at. I probably worked at 95 different places. So, I mean, everything from driving forklifts to, sweeping up uptown Charlotte to assistant managing the ladies' Foot Locker in Ohio, to coming here and working at Food Line and gas stations in Sherwin-Williams, like really piecing together all of the hard labor work.
Right.
Also working at an advertising agency, like working at a graphic design agency, working for myself in that space, handling a $150,000 budget with Diageo in 3 different states. Like, being able to jump into those different lanes has been a failure in itself.
Right.
To bring it back, like, you're testing and you testing and you testing. Like, they only see, oh, you got that $150,000. They didn't see the year I waited to get it and how many proposals I sent the multicultural director of Diageo, probably no less than 13 different proposals, 5 to 6 pages, graphic design, mock-ups, the whole 9. Like, I was shooting
big shots.
Like, I was going for Sour Patch Kids and they gave me the meeting. I was sending her things like, she gave me a meeting and said, this is what I want you to write up for me. It's failures in every piece but what's the win in it? So I can fail at the job that I'm not supposed to be at and notice that, or I can fail at the proposal, but it's to keep going, right? So you jump out of the space of failing into the space of winning by looking at the flaws. Right. So I didn't really fail by sending the proposals. My jargon wasn't right, so I kept practicing. I kept putting stuff together and making it happen.
Yes.
4 questions?
All right, 3. Okay. 2. 1.
All right, so you learn from a lot of your failures, but that sort of turns you into this fearless being. And they say that we're born fearless,
Mhm.
but we're taught fear, meaning that along the way, people push fear upon you. You know, like the standard, don't touch that, that's hot, that's dangerous, look out. You don't seem to have that fear. How did you learn it, or why do you have it? And what helps you keep
I don't think it's like I'm not avoiding fear. So for me, it's okay. You either do this or you go work there. For somebody who's already proved that they can run a company.
it? So you're almost conquering fear through fear of having to go to work.
If you want to put it that way.
Okay.
I'm not scared to go to work though.
Just
I don't necessarily want to.
just really, really, really don't want to.
It's not that.
Okay.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs psych themselves out, and I think they make themselves think that they don't want to go work a job because they want to do what they love to do every day. That's part of the pressure, right? So you go to work every day, and you can, let's just say you like to do websites. You go get a job where you got a couple clients, but they're all landscaping businesses. You might blow your fucking brains out doing what you love to do, because it's not really what you love to do. It's a function. Every job has that function.
Right.
So finding that piece and knowing that I can find the selling piece before I walk into a market, I guess alleviates the fear. I'm not playing in spaces that I'm not good at. Like, I'm not going to sing or dance. I'm horrible at those things. So I'm going in spaces that I definitely understand, I'm in control of, and I can see around the corners in. So me making those moves aren't out of fear. They're out of, I'm about to fucking dunk this shit on their head and they're not going to see it.
Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, it's a world famous speaker. His name is Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn. And he says that somebody asked him a question. They said, how'd you become a millionaire? And he said, well, I found something that was easy for me to do, and I worked hard at it. What does that statement mean to you, and why does it work for you?
Because when you play defense, you play against the odds.
Okay.
People aren't going to like you for everything.
Right.
The better you are at identifying what they like you for, the easier it is to spoon feed them what you want them to pay attention to.
Okay.
A lot of people want to shove what they want you to pay attention to down your throat and then give you ice cream.
Okay.
It's not the way it works. Like, I'm into you for a certain reason. The same reason I wanted you to interview me. The same reason people are coming to me for certain reasons. So playing offense is what that statement is about. Like, there's no reason to do anything super, super hard unless you just enjoy that challenge. It's something you really, really love. Like, say you love baseball, but you're not coordinated for shit.
Right.
I understand it. I empathize with it because it's going to be a hard struggle. It's going to be a Michael Jordan thing, but it can happen. He did get cut.
True. So, we talked before about how you had a couple African American guys come to your school, right? And for us, it's not a lot of people that we see like at the top, right? So the question that I want to ask is, right now, you talked about a couple people, you know, your Diddy's, your Kenny Burns, some of the people you look up to. Who are some other people that you look up to besides people that are necessarily mainstream? Like people that are might be at surface level?
A lot of creatives. I'm on Instagram a lot, obviously. I'm paying attention to a lot of people. It's not the money that's intriguing me. I mean, obviously, it's the door open.
Right.
It doesn't matter whether or not you made a whole lot of money in the situation. It's the fact that there's a black pilot? Cool. We can do that now.
Right.
It's no different than us seeing somebody drive a truck and realize, like, oh, you're making $8,000 a run? Cool. I now understand what that position is worth. When Diddy went and did the Ciroc deal, that gave Kenny the understanding of, oh, this is what a deal like this is worth from ownership. It's time for me to go get that. I'm in the same way because, I mean, we're in open territory. Influencers are the next celebrities. They're doing one-off deals. Endorsement deals are next. Like, got a lot of room to play, so it's no reason to kind of pigeonhole yourself in those situations.
I got you. a lot of times, the reason I ask it comes from is because a lot of times for us, it's such a huge gap between where we want to be and where we are now, right? If you could just tell some of the people that are watching, some of the people that are inspired by you, maybe even some young people, how do you bridge the gap between the two? Because it always looks so far. It always looks like I'm going from here to the moon. When in reality, you got flaws just like everybody else, right? What are some of your flaws? What are some messages you can give to people that want to do something similar to what you're doing that may be at home and it seems like it's impossible? What will you tell them?
Self-awareness is the biggest thing.
Can I pour myself some more of this?
I'm pouring some for you.
You're a good person sometimes. That's right.
Self-awareness is probably the number one because it leads to everything else. I'm gonna pour you some more because I know you get a little lush. It's cool, man. Back to it. Self-awareness is the biggest one because it pretty much explains everything. You don't get into a rut if you understand yourself.
Right.
With the flaw side of it, I mean, sleep if you want to sleep. I sleep a lot. Take naps. I don't work all the time. I have to find my modes when, okay, sometimes I'm better at working at night. So I have to schedule my time to work at night instead of saying, oh, nah, I can't get it done, or trying to find a bunch of excuses. I don't have to work during the day like the rest of the world works during the day if I do better at night. And I think that's where a lot of people have those flaws. They're doing things based on what's been set. Okay, you gotta go in the office at 9 to 5. Well, what happens if most of your clients or staff, this is their hobby? This is their second job. You're trying to build an agency. Why not open it up at night and run 5 hours between 9 to 2, 9 to 12, somewhere around there? Like, run it where you get an opportunity to actually get the people in that you're trying to work with.
Okay.
Whether it's speed, whether it's pricing, whatever you're putting your business at, from your clients to your consumer, your structure should be based on that way.
Okay. So you touched on something. You talked about your schedule not being
orthodox,
right? So let's talk about freedom.
Mm-hmm.
What's your definition of freedom and what's it mean to you?
Doing whatever you want to do when you want to do it. It's contradiction, but that's what it is. You deal with the consequences of it if you decide to not get up. If I decide to not get up tomorrow and not do anything, then something's going to suffer. If I do that long enough, I'm not going to get a check.
Right.
You work a job, you got some vacation days, you could probably do that for maybe 2 weeks if you're in a good spot. Difference is when they fire you, your business is not going to crumble.
Right.
Yours will, theirs won't. If I don't do what I'm supposed to do, that's exactly what's going to happen. So when you're an entrepreneur, all the cards are on you. All the plays are on you. You make the moves, you make the decisions, which means one decision can turn into a bad one or a really, really great one.
Okay. So what stage are you in on entrepreneurship? Like, do you have a staff? Is it mostly just you?
Mm-hmm. I have a little bit of a staff. We're building it now. We're building a small team. I have a brand manager / assistant / everything, Little Fox. You guys will probably see her on my Instagram. I have Jeff, who's with Goliath Views, Goliath Worldwide on Instagram, and he's going to be doing a lot of the videography and photography and a lot of the media for what we have going on moving forward. And we're servicing a few big clients actually, as well as the things that I'm already working on with the fragrance in the club and a few other spaces. So I'm not necessarily looking to build a major team. I like where the world is with entrepreneurship. I like that people want to have contracts, and I'm very, very interested in the people who are interested in taking contracts that give them passion, but also put them in a great position. So I don't want a room full of 50,000 employees. I want contract workers.
Right.
I want people who want to come in and get that money. That way, you're not locked into me. I'm not locked into you. But you know you're not getting paid if you're not in these doors getting stuff done. So I'm not obligated to pay you unless you're doing a function. You're doing well. No busy work. Because that's not what we want at this point, right?
Right.
People don't want to go to work and have all these things to do when they have nothing to do. The only way you're going to get that is contract work. But what does that do? That puts you in a smaller pay structure. because you're getting multiple things from a bigger company. You have to understand that. And on top of that, you don't have vacation time and all of that on top of it. But what you do have is your time, to go back to what you were talking about. Like, that's what people keep saying they covet the most of their time. I think more people covet security.
Okay. So, without saying the brands that you're working with.
Oh, we can say it.
Okay. Well, what are you doing to them? What service are you providing for them?
We are creating, for one company, we're creating from the bottom up a brand structure, a personality, a conversation, how the brand is going to communicate with its consumers, what they're going to see, the feelings and emotions they're going to make, and all this is going to be done through digital content creation, whether it be in the form of a digital commercial that's getting you to swipe up to download an app, or whether it's real life content that's meant to create a dating conversation around what women think about men in Charlotte, or vice versa, or trying to create content that instead of getting you to do one thing, we want to get your attention another way. So we create something that will actually connect with you, like being in a new city like Charlotte and putting together date scenarios. So now, instead of trying to get you to go and download an app, we show you what to do, and then you can go on the app after if you care about it, about what you saw enough to find somebody to go with. Okay. So instead of trying to shove things down people's throat, I'm going to try to find a solution to the answer. Is what we're doing digitally, is finding an answer to whether, we're selling a fragrance. What do guys want? A longer lasting fragrance. And a few other things. So we answer those questions first before we even go to the market. If we're not better, which is what we're focused around in the company, is if we're not just better in the situation, we don't want to put it out.
Okay. So you mentioned the app, which is a dating app, and you also mentioned the fragrance.
Be okay, and you're welcome.
I need to know about both of them. I need to know about Be Okay, why I should join it.
Okay.
And then I'll get into the fragrance a little bit after that.
Okay. So Be Okay is an app through Match.com. So Match.com owns basically the top dating apps across the world. They came into Charlotte looking for influencers to do an event. They wanted to pay us to do what I do every Saturday, which is cool. You know, hey, let me send you some things, this and this. But when you're gonna spend a certain significant amount of money, my light bulb's gonna go on, and I'm looking for results. I'm gonna do something with you at this point. I told you earlier that the new celebrity is the influencer, right? So it's really a separation of who's getting it and who's not. The endorsement deal always shows you who's getting it. Right. The residual income from a brand shows that you're creating results over and over again. So I don't want to work with brands as an influencer creating one-offs. Doesn't look good. I mean, it's fine if you're working in a niche, but my brand isn't in a niche. You know, it's not just fashion or fragrance. It's just me living my life and creating things that organically fit into what people want to see as a commercial that goes along with that lifestyle. If I'm drinking this water, I'm really drinking this water. So getting back to the point, Be Okay is kind of in that space for us. It started as an influencer thing where I'm single. People they're bringing me this app to create things so that we can bring the most attractive guys, most attractive girls in there. But a dilemma happens when you come to Charlotte. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows each other. You end up Netflixing and chill. So one of our strategies was, how about instead of us doing an event where we invite people out that are already out on the scene, which means they're not going to get on a dating app because they don't need it, and we take your money and waste it, how about we create content where we show people where to go, exactly what we said earlier, and then if they're interested in the content that we create and the conversation that we're creating in the channels they already are, then maybe, just maybe, if it's good enough, they'll download that.
Gotcha.
But it has to be good enough.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of dating, I am single and I tie my own tie.
That's up for debate.
Whatever. You're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I was there when you first created the cologne.
You were.
I wore it. It disappeared for a while.
It did disappear for a little while.
It came back.
Mm-hmm.
I still have some of the original bottle.
Mm-hmm. You got one of the blue bottles?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I stole it actually.
I'm sure you stole it.
Tell me about your welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Why you created it. Where we can get it. I've been drinking a lot. Go.
So you're welcome. If I was to name anything as my baby, you're welcome would be my baby. Besides my daughter, of course.
I'm
But
glad you said that.
business.
Great dad.
I am. Anyways, you're welcome would be my baby. It's my fragrance. We were actually working on a consulting project. Me and another partner with some guys, Eastern Oils out of Atlanta, and they wanted us to create a case study to figure out how they could sell bottles at a higher price. For us, it was just like, oh, you guys are selling cologne, great. We can figure this out. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be packaging, right? Or it stinks. Turns out, it smells really good. They're pushing 100% oils. Out of that education, they sent us a big box of all the essential oils and a few of their base notes that they create. So my partner at the time, business partner, Lenny, was actually had his own fragrance at the time as well. So obviously, Leo in me wants to make my own fragrance. I'm not going to wear his.
Right.
So I get to mixing up some stuff. We haven't even done the case study yet, but I get to mix up some stuff, and it gives me a passion because now I'm having a conversation with him about the notes. The guy Charles, who actually mixes and does all this stuff back in, I'm having a conversation with him about the notes that I'm putting together and how it smells and what I should do. And he's not necessarily walking me through it. He's talking to me about jasmine and terry and vanilla and the positives about them and why they cut theirs the way they cut it and how they keep it 100% pure. Excuse me. And then he goes into, because you know those fragrances that you spend so much money for are 20% oil and 80% alcohol.
That's
and
what I was going to ask you.
What?
Yeah. The colognes.
What? You mean they're selling their name as a fragrance? It's just branding. It's just packaging. It's just the same as a polo. There's some that are going to have the quality, and there's some that's just an embroidered stitch on top of a regular shirt.
Right.
That's what most fragrances are. So knowing that Your Welcome was 100% and me kind of living with it, and then I gave it to a few guys. It actually used to be called Notes. And I gave it to 3 guys.
Glad you changed that name.
No, it was actually a good name. So Notes, and everything was going to come with like a scroll and a handwritten note with the notes on it.
Gotcha.
And the tagline was going to be your message to send, your sent to send a message like a love note.
That sounds amazing.
It was awesome.
Yep.
It was awesome.
Sounds great.
Let's just say it evolved though.
Yep.
Everything's not going to be, but Your Welcome is where we are now. So I get out to 3 guys during CIAA, which is a major event here in Charlotte. Nobody knows about it. Out there is going to watch it. Where the colleges come together for a basketball tournament. But we all throw parties, so nobody goes to the college games. True. So during that time, all of them came back to me and I was like, thank you, man. Like the attention that they got off of it because of the patchouli and how it drifts in the room and oils like really sit and they're really prominent, but they're not overly dramatic because they don't have alcohol in it, like messing with your nostrils and your scents. So they came back and it was like, thank you. And the cockiness in me was like, I got to change the name of this to Your Welcome because everybody I'm giving it to is coming back with almost like I gifted them the life, the truth serum or something, like you're rejuvenated. And it took on that of its own, the You're Welcome, and just kind of spread out. I've been testing it for a while, mixing it, trying to get it perfect. And then last August, we actually soft released it on the website just to get a couple of units out. And we're at a good point now, obviously, while we're doing this interview, getting all of the Paris Pullen brand together because it's not just a fragrance, it's not just a shirt, it's me and everything that I'm going to create is what we're putting together with the start of Your Welcome. Most people do fragrances on the back end like it's their last thing because people buy it because of the name. I like the challenge because I don't have the name. So it has to be a damn good smelling fragrance for it really to hit the market. And on top of that, it has to have an even better advertising plan.
Gotcha. For
you to understand it, for you to fall in love with it. And I'm going to push it like Ciroc. There's more fragrances coming after that and one is already done. So it's just a matter of actually getting people behind, not just Your Welcome, but the Paris Pullen brand as a whole. And I think Your Welcome, with it being a fragrance that people can get behind, it's not a shirt, it's not my logo on you. It's a smell that gets you attention, not me. It turns you into the perfect compliment. You can't beat it.
Okay. Appreciate that.
We out. You're not recording at all? You missed all of that? We Gucci? We still...
So my next question. Mm-hmm. We talked about Your Welcome.
We did.
Your baby.
My baby.
Obviously, you're a terrible dad.
That's horrible to say.
Let's talk about what it means to be a black father
This is going to be on the internet.
to a black woman child.
Black father to a black woman child.
Yep.
Because she's definitely a woman. She's grown.
And she's a child.
And she's a child. It's amazing, man. Like, it's... You know how people, like, prepare you for it and, like, this is going to be, like, hard.
Right.
No, it's not at all. The women take a lot of the grunt out of the day-to-day thing, so a lot of respect in that area. I have a very good co-parenting. I probably have the best co-parenting relationship in the world, I like to say. No drama, no problems, like, very good communication. We know our boundaries. We know what's going on. I take care of what I need to take care of. Her mother handles her side of the responsibilities the way she has to handle them. I make sure that I provide and take care and spend the time that I need to spend time with. I feel like dads are there to create the mind to a certain degree.
Gotcha.
Obviously provide as well, but the mom is there for nurturing and let me make sure this person doesn't hurt themselves. The dad is there for like moral, like, yo, don't let them get over it. I'm building her mind. I'm more excited to see what she does if she goes to college or not, what she's going to do after 18.
Your feminine viewers are going to hate you for this.
Hey, man, it is what it is.
All right.
We're equal by all means. But women are definitely, from an emotional standpoint, have more of a sensitive lever than we do. So they're obviously going to be easier to communicate with, and you're going to flock to them a lot more. I talked to my stepmom a lot more than I talked to my dad when I was younger, even though I knew the message would get to him anyways.
Right. How has fatherhood changed you, though?
I can't hit zero anymore.
All right.
When you're not a father and you're just living for yourself, then hitting zero doesn't feel like zero. Hitting less than $1,000 feels like you have lost the world. Right. When you have a child. When she gets sick, medicine, it's all of these it's not you trying to figure out what you've already figured out over your lifespan of what you can deal with. It's another person who might bump their head at school today. Okay. That may need to be rushed to the emergency room. That may need to be paid for. That may need a subscription. So there's a lot of factors that go into play when it comes down to that. Or she's got a field trip or something she needs. There's always some money needed from father.
Right. Well, I'm pretty sure love. It's a big difference from raising a boy child.
I wouldn't know.
From a woman child.
I have one single child. Let's not turn this into an episode of Murray.
So let me ask you this: having a daughter, like, how has that changed you? And because I know you, I happen to know that you're one of the best hair braiders in the world. Tell us about that too.
Wowzers! Never braided hair a day in my life. Okay. Let's be clear about that.
All right.
But I see your beard's getting a little long, so right. I see you're scouting. Is that what that is? So, from a father standpoint, I think that I would love to say a lot of things have changed. I don't think that it's something you notice. It's like when she was born, I used to be a really, really wild sleeper. Probably still am. But when she's in the bed with me, I'm not. Even when I was little, I was scared to sleep in the bed with her when she was first born. And I had to call my dad, like, he's like, no, you're not going to roll over on her. Like, subconsciously, it's something that happens to us that you know that she's in there. I wake up, my hands are in between my legs. Like, I wake up like that when I was in the bed with her when she was asleep. And it was crazy because it's like, you know, like your body automatically knows that this thing is more important. This person is more important than anything else in the world. So you're not going to make the fatal mistake of something as simple as rolling over with a child while you're asleep. Like, your body makes those adjustments, which causes your mental to make them without me thinking about it, I guess.
Right.
Like, I automatically think about things I have to pay for her.
Okay.
Or take care of, or time, or like, it's not like the friend that, oh, I can call you once a week, blah, blah, blah. She gonna call, and she gonna have an attitude, you can talk to her. Like, she gotta, I make sure that she has her own world and her own mindset, and she's very clear on what she likes and what she doesn't like.
Yeah, because just so everybody knows, she's a jerk too. Co-parenting.
Can be difficult.
It can be difficult, but it's vastly important. And I think it's something that a lot of single parents these days miss, and they don't even like to use the word co-parent. How did you get to that point? Because I know it was an in-between, and how do you deal with co-parenting now, being an entrepreneur, being not necessarily a single dad, but you have her and it's just you, and also you have other feminine endeavors that you wanna you wanna explore. So tell me about co-parenting.
Again, co-parenting can be difficult without over communication.
Okay.
I think a lot of the times issues arise when women don't know. Like, and I'm adamant about, especially people that are in my circle, not that I'm a woman, because I went from one to the other, so let's clear this up.
No worries.
But when you're the provider or you're looking over everything like mothers do for their children or bosses do for their companies, the more you can know about a scenario and what's happening with everybody, the better the outcome you can create. If I don't know that you're not going to make it, then I can't schedule for that. I can't make any changes. So when I'm communicating with Jada's mother and letting her know, oh, well, I might have this, I'm letting her know 6 months to a year ahead of time on moves that I'm making that may possibly come through. I may have to be in LA, or I may have to do this, like, because I'm always planning in that way anyways. Like, I'm not planning realistic things.
Right.
For everybody else, in my mind, I'm 2 steps away from everything I want to touch. So it's just a matter of, I met that person today. The plan's already done. So for her, she knows all of those deals. It could be difficult getting into a new relationship if you don't have somebody that you're overly communicating it with in that space as well. But she knows so much about the people, things, and businesses and stuff that I'm into her mother does on a day-to-day basis, that by the time she is, this close, it's like, oh, cool, great, we got more money coming.
Well, just for the viewers' own personal knowledge, you haven't always been a great communicator.
I've been a horrible communicator.
So how was the
She has my
transition?
child. Again, that was one of those situations where I try to get people to understand she has something that's at a different value than, what's up, man? What's happening? She has my child.
Right.
So naturally, me having to talk to her importance when her name pops up on my phone is different than anybody else popping up. It didn't used to be like that.
Right.
I know what baggage that phone call has, and me not answering it could be detrimental. Right. Something could happen to her. It may be a time variation thing. I don't have the luxury of not answering those phone calls or not communicating, because if she doesn't, then my schedule's messed up. So it's almost it goes deep into a respect thing. We can properly plan together. Nobody feels taken advantage of.
Okay. Let me loosen up my tie, because I got some real good questions. And again,
that's what
I tied my own tie because I'm an adult man.
That's awesome. Just so you know, the only time a guy needs to get undressed before he goes to the house is when he doesn't do this all the time. Let me make sure that I'm straight.
You
might want to loosen up the top button, man.
Button the top button too.
So you don't pass out, brother.
Cause I'm big as shit. Anywho, co-parenting.
Mm-hmm.
We talked on how we evolved in co-parenting. The next part is dating, right?
Okay.
You're an entrepreneur. You got a lot of time on your hands. You work at the club. You got a great smelling cologne.
You do have a great smelling cologne. You
got a daughter you can use as a ploy.
No, we don't do that
nowadays.
We don't do that.
How does that come into play? Like, what are the difficulties? How does it work for you?
The last relationship I was in was good when it came down to the co-parenting thing.
Okay.
Something happened that I didn't expect to happen. When you're dealing with good people, good things happen. I'll say that first. On the record, my stepmother and mother have never said probably 2 words to each other, to my knowledge. Maybe different. The last relationship I was in, my girlfriend was very adamant about Jada's mother is going to have to tell me that she doesn't want anything to do with me for me not to deal with her. And I thought that was the strongest shit I ever heard in my entire life. And when she made her ploy to introduce herself, they became best friends instantly. To the point where they were buying each other things. So for me, it wasn't weirded out, but it was definitely weird, but it was a good weird. It was like, oh, when you communicate, this is what happens. When you let people know what's going on, when you're not trying to figure out how to make it work to everybody's best.
Right.
And you just do what works best for you. You find people who like you for you, who want to do things to make you happy. So dating for me, like almost most things that I deal with, it's kind of easy breezy. Like I hate to be like, to give it a cocky feel, especially in this interview where like obviously you're taking your time to make sure that you're asking the right questions, that everybody's getting who I am after so long
I'm
and what I'm trying to get.
This shit is easy. So yeah.
Fair enough. Doctor of
interviewing.
We'll take that. Long story short,
That was corny.
you deal with a lot of you deal with things that you end up paying for the things that you thought you were taking time to fix,
right,
by not communicating. So doing it early makes it a lot easier. And just little situations like that have helped me in communication. It's made it easier for me to communicate with the women in my life, from my mom to my sister to all of them, because if these two people who I would expect to never have a conversation do and enjoy it, me communicating with people that I thought we might not get along makes it so much easier in a situation. And you give people the opportunity to not like you for you. And you know what? That's easy for me to do. It's not easy for me to feel like somebody took something from, like, got a bad first impression, and I didn't mean it that way. But if I meant that shit, oh, it's sweet bliss. I feel no way about it, because I want you to get what I'm giving you and be okay with it, versus me giving you something and you not liking it and it really wasn't me.
Okay.
I'm gonna want to prove who I really am.
All right. I'm about to take this a different direction.
Well, take it there, man. See, you unbutton you got your tie down. I'm hoping it's gonna help you level up.
I untied the tie. I tied myself.
Because you know it's finals right now.
5 seconds.
Okay, it's finals. It's NBA finals right now.
I sort of feel like
you can feel that way.
You've been giving me some great answers to some great questions.
I have. Because
your answers have been stupendous.
You're a guru interviewer.
Something like it.
But I'm a hell of an interviewee.
Let's cut the shit.
Cut the shit.
All right?
Snip, snip.
It sort of seems like you're a perfect guy.
I'm not a perfect guy.
I know you're not, because I know.
Look, man, my legs are a little high. Things happen, man.
Yeah. Let's get into that.
Let's get into it.
Let's talk about the rough side of Paris Pullen.
The shit they don't like.
The shit they don't like.
They don't like that shit.
Because you said that the relationship and communication was sort of easy, but that's BS. Because it ended.
Between those.
I know. That's not what I asked you.
I'm listening.
So what I'm asking you is we always have things that we want to fix, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Me being me.
I wish it was a little bit taller. I wish it was a baller.
I'm 5'9.5".
Whatever, man. I got you.
On Google.
Hey, man, listen.
So one of my issues that I have is I'm a conqueror, right?
I understand.
Anything that gets in front of me, I'll kill it. But that means that sometimes I get distracted by things that come in front of me. I need to know, for Paris, what are some of the things that sort of knock you off balance? Because it all sounds too easy to me. And I know that's not true, because we all have vulnerable moments.
Absolutely.
And sometimes when you're a leader, you don't have anybody that you can talk to. So tell me about the people that you talk to, for one. And then for two, some of the things that you're trying to work on so you can become a better you.
Okay. We'll start with the first part, which is the people I talk to.
Right.
A lot of the people I talk to are looking to talk to me in a mentorship side. And I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of people that I can speak to when I'm down and out. I'm normally the one giving advice or taking care of the situation, and that's fine, because I mean that's what you sign up for. I would love to have more mentors, but I don't think enough people. Let's just be clear, and I don't mean this at the slightest bit of cockiness. I feel like you should admire the people who you look to as mentors and stuff like that. Going back to your question earlier, right? I don't find enough people that I'm wowed by.
But you do find people.
I do find people.
So tell me about those people.
I'm not one move connected to them.
Right.
No. So the mentors that I have, like I said, are your Diddy's or your big wigs. They're people who have broken molds. And there's guys who I admire for certain things. Like, obviously, I admire your ability to your conversation skills, as well as your ability to focus in on the things that you really want to get. Like, and I don't mean, because I can fucking focus. I mean, and I don't mean the homework, because I'll do the homework. I pick things that I'm so good at that it's a breeze for me to go to gym every day. You get me? Whereas you'll go pick something that you're good at, but it's going to take a little bit of work. And you're going to get on that workout ladder. You're going to get whatever. Your footwork going to be on point by the time you get done. I'm so conditioned in bringing all these other things that I've spent time, wasting time, forklift shit, like things that you wouldn't think that matter, that come into play now, and being able to utilize those, I become this vast array of knowledge. And it's difficult for me to put myself in a position, and I would love to put myself in a position where I can have somebody that even if it's once a month, once every 6 months, to be able to have that conversation with somebody that I really, really admire, that is like, nah, don't do none of that. I want somebody to tell me not to do none of that.
Let me ask you a question, though, because we have crazy conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, because naturally, as a lion,
right,
you see everybody as your equal. It's hard for you to, it doesn't matter who it is. Because if Diddy or Kenny was here, we still would see them as equal.
Well, the minute they put us at the table.
Right. The second we know we're in the room, you're my equal now. I don't care anything about you. Your opinion goes out the door. We're the same. Do you think that can become a flaw? Because what I noticed about myself is even when I have mentors, after 2 conversations, they can't be my mentor anymore.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, I would never think anything as weak as that thought. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you think that's a flaw that you have, or do you think that, I don't know how I wasn't posed that question, do you think that sometimes you have people that you could possibly talk to that you outthink on a negative level?
On a negative level. I think that your approach can be flawed sometimes.
Right.
Because mentally, we know the game, right?
Right.
So we know that in any situation that we want something from, we're going with giving value first. Like, we're leading with what you're supposed to. But for somebody like us seeing that move is a problem.
Right.
Us seeing that, oh, you want to give me some free work to spend some time around me? Oh, you're looking for something, can immediately be the trigger not to deal with that person, right?
Right.
And that's where the flaw can lie, is being too good at knowing how to position yourself and also give value. Because at the end of the day, me doing 25% is so much value to somebody that's just getting like 1 niche or 2 niches. You know what I'm saying? Like, me being in a room and giving you 25% is 100% of somebody else's gain because of all of the things I'm going to bring to the table in that situation.
Okay.
For me, it's my evaluation of what's going on. So it's not their evaluation. I'm basing and saying, oh, yo, they working on this project. I would love to be a part of it, even if I'm willing to do it for free. But I definitely can understand the placement of, I might not have time to deal with this person right now. Right? Because this person is going to be a problem. Like, you seen the Diddy and Andre Harrell interview where it's like, I knew he was going to be a problem then.
Yeah.
I'm that problem for so many people. They haven't figured out how to position me yet. I've always been the person, even with GQ in those times, that it's not that I couldn't have got a job with them. They didn't think I needed one. I wasn't rich. I didn't have a lot of money. I was just getting by. You feel me? Like, during the GQ days when we were touring, I paid for my first tour. A lot of people don't know that. I paid for my travel because that's the game. If you can't put your own money into your investment for what you got to at least pay for your travel, they refunded me like 90 days later. That's another lesson I learned very quickly. You might not get paid for 90 days. Contracts are 90 days. And in a title way, but after 90 days, now you cashing out. But it's 90 days. It's hustle time. And, you know, as a hustler, I feel like if you're not making money after 90 days in the position you're working in, you need to go somewhere else anyways.
Let me ask you this. I'm taking a different turn.
Do you think?
All right. So I listen to a lot of TD Jakes.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons I listen to him, I think he's a phenomenal speaker.
Okay.
I want to be
agree.
better than him one day. But he tells a story about Joshua, right? Mm-hmm. And we all know Joshua fit the Battle of Jericho. So Joshua is a great warrior. The problem is Joshua is such a great warrior that he believes in his warriorship. I just made that word up, by the way. You can use it if you feel free. He believes in his warriorship a little bit too much, right? All he wants to do is fight all the time. The problem is he starts to fight his allies because it doesn't recognize that they're allies. TD Jake says he'll smack him in the mouth and then ask them what they was about to say later, which is common.
Right.
Do you think that's an issue that you have? Even if it's subconsciously.
I think that possibly. Okay. I wouldn't know. I'm not on the other side of the pendulum. So I know that I've spazzed on a few people in times working and not the best. And I actually had this conversation with you the other day, I believe, which we were talking about offloading people. You know? So it's so romantic finding somebody who fits. It's not as romantic when you realize that they don't. And now you have to go through that process. And you try to do that without hurting anybody from an emotional, real standpoint, because it's not just a job. This is livelihood. This is money. This is how people are taking care of their families. When you get into that movement of money, of course, is what we're talking about when you're hiring people. And I think that when you have passion behind something and you see people and you going out your way to do certain things for certain people, naturally that relationship thing happens where it goes beyond here's the functions to I want you to feel the way about this that I do. And that's impossible for somebody else to feel that way. But it happens from an ownership level, and it's a growth standpoint to get into more of an HR standpoint of how do I deal with the people that are spending their time, because a lot of the times that can be enough currency and enough passion behind that time. You can't expect them to leave and think about it too.
Okay. So
it's better to just hire people good enough for that 8 hours. Great enough for that 8 hours. That's going to put, while they're there, they fucking in the game, LeBron style. When they get off, you can do whatever you want to do. But while you're here, have the passion for what we're doing. And I think not blurring the lines of the time frame of it. We over? Oh, okay. I think that not blurring the lines of the time frame of it, of your expectations on real time. So if we work on if I got you for 8 hours, I should only expect from a real standpoint of business, if we go higher level, 6 hours.
4 hours.
Break.
Gotcha.
Even, I'm talking about from a passionate business though.
Okay.
I'm not talking about a Wells Fargo. I'm talking about 15, 20 employees where I can see you from my office.
Okay, your passion's still different than yours.
Absolutely.
But let me take another spin, right? This is one of my favorite lines in all rap, right? Pusha T, he has a line where he says, I believe there's a God above me. I'm just the God of everything else. Right?
Facts.
Do you believe in a higher power?
I do. I don't.
Don't go there. Okay. I just wanted to know the answer to that one question.
There has to be something that is making the calls. That's how I feel. Okay. There has to be somebody that's looking out for me on that day that I'm not supposed to make it.
Okay.
And I don't think it's a miracle.
Gotcha. You can stop that, charge it. You good? You can charge it.
We good?
Yeah. I wanted to stop at that. When you stop talking, you can stop. All right. Last question of the day, Paris. It's really the second part of the last question that I asked.
So it's a two-part?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a two-part.
It's not a two-parter anymore?
I gotta be honest. I forgot what it was. So we're gonna pretend that I do know.
Okay.
Even though I don't.
All right.
When I do.
Okay.
When I don't. talked about the flaws.
Mhm.
We never went into the dating part,
Okay.
right?
It's interesting.
Because it's rough, man. Entrepreneur, dad, co-parent, asshole. You got a lot of things wrapped up in there.
This is true.
Right?
This is true.
I want you to do two things for me. And I'm going to remember these two. At least one of them. Who is the real Paris Pullen? Meaning, who is the person you're trying to become? But first, before that, I want you to tell me, from the dating side, how is it? And then transition into the first question. So start from the back. Second question.
Which was...
Damn it. All right. The first part was...
It was the dating scenario. I mean, it was...
It was the person that you want to become.
The person that I want to become.
Yeah. Paris 10 years from now.
It's changing. I thought it was going to be the guy who convinced everybody that you didn't have to work hard.
Right.
And that you could play off the talent.
Right.
And just get it. And it gets you to a milestone. Doesn't get you the whole pie. Now, it's becoming... I'm not trying to live for anybody else. So it's never like, oh, I want to represent this for them. For me, it's very legacy. What am I leaving? And not the big philanthropy guy yet. I'm not big in it. What am I leaving my daughter? Like realistic stuff. What am I leaving my family? How do they feel about me when I pass? I honestly want my funeral service to be 7 hours long. I thought about it recently, and it's been, the last year, that's been my thing. I want, when I pass away from here, 7 hours long. And it's gonna be different categories, like your influencers, your celebrities, fashion. Everybody have their time, but I want to change enough people's. I don't know if it's gonna be careers. I don't know if it's gonna be regular life. I don't know if it's gonna be in friendships, in business, philanthropy projects. In some way, I'm gonna touch enough people. I'm gonna have 7 hours of funeral service where they're talking about how great of a person I was.
All right, so I'm gonna take off the second part for right now.
Okay.
And I'm gonna read to you. You know Nipsey Hussle, right? Charlamagne just posted a book called The Way of a Superior Man.
Okay.
All right, so I've read it. I'm gonna read it again. And he has a couple excerpts in it, and he talks about the superior man is the giving, right? The superior man is the gift. And the way to become a superior man is the superior man feels deeply inside the world and deeply inside himself at the same time.
Right.
So when we talk about giving, and you talk about philanthropy, and you talk about helping people, like, what do you want to give, A, and B, what do you have to, like,
what do I have to give?
Yeah.
My mind, for one.
Okay.
I'm very much, you can probably shovel anything to me, idea, concept, whatever, and I'm going to break it apart from a realistic standpoint. Prime example, my mother recently is unemployed, based on retirement status to a certain extent, earlier than expected. But instead of going back to, or going to get she's coming up with these different, like, oh, I want to go get a thrift store or something like that. And I'm like, you know, thrift stores stink. They smell like mothballs. Not only that, but they don't make enough money for you to vacation and you to have an employee there. This is going to be your home. This is going to be your job.
Right.
My mother goes to Egypt, and like, she's been in Jamaica. She's been so many places that I know when she retires after working all these years of not a job she hates, but in a position where you had to go to work every day. You're on somebody else's time, regardless whether you love the job or not. You getting off from that and being a person who loves to travel, who's the person who's always on me about, when we were younger, let's sit down and come up with the next $1 million idea. That's a woman who wants to travel when she gets all of her time back to her. Not a woman who wants to sit inside of something and try to build something new. So it's like, well, why don't you do some DIY projects and put them on YouTube and see if you can partner with Pier 1 and things like that. Things that you love to do. So getting people in a space to realize their real potential and real expectations. I'm having so much fun the last few months, like, not crushing people's dreams, But getting to a standpoint of this is how much work this is going to be to get this much money in this position, and then being self-aware enough to say, I don't think I'm going to put in that much time. Then you can't expect Rihanna results on your singing career, Beyonce results on your singing career, because you're not willing to put in that type of time, right? So getting people to a point of realistic expectation, it has been something that I found passion in, and people really appreciate out of it because they feel like they're getting something, even when I'm not in a position to necessarily teach. Consulting, putting you in a position, creating results for the next step, I am in. But can I tell you how to get $1 billion company? I haven't made $1 billion, so no, I can't. Can I help you connect with 1 billion people? Yes, because they're on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. So playing to my levels, playing to my spaces is my benefit to people right now. Being true to myself and not trying to sell you something that I think I'm going to be good at later is not my game right now. My game is completely results, whether it's showing photographers how to really give results to a model instead of shooting her out in the park. Why don't you create car situations where she can upload these to the website, and now she's actually getting results. Whether or not those companies call her back, you put her in a position to win. And that's what people want. My legacy is going to be built on me putting people in the position to win. That's my benefit to people, and that's what I want to continue to grow in however wide that goes. Whether it's I can get you the deal, sign the deal, do the contract, do all of it, or I know the people because I've helped or put myself in a position good enough to know these people. When I know somebody is good enough, I can pass them and they respect my opinion. It's power, not money. I enjoy what you can do with the money, which is why I do have a number that I want. But ultimately, if I could do all of those things with a phone call, I wouldn't chase the money. If it was clams, I'd be chasing clams. Whatever is going to get that, because that's what people don't want to admire. Well, I don't. I can't talk about what everybody else is like. I don't want to watch somebody who works hard every day and looks like shit. Never has a chance to enjoy it. I'm not living to just give everything to my daughter. I'm living to live myself. I'm living to show her this is how you're supposed to live when you're here. Enjoy what you're doing. Create enough wealth and establishment to be able to give something so everybody else doesn't have to start from zero. That's how you create generational wealth. If you look at white and black families, most white families, and I say white because that's who we look at as the dominant money source of where we are, right, in society. So they're not creating $250 million in a lifetime like Jay-Z's and Sean John's, and some of them are, but not as televised, not from singing and dancing, not from the talents that we hold. We're the most competitive race, and we the coolest.
Right.
Our problem is we're competing with ourselves because we are those things. The crabs in the barrel mindset. So being somebody that you can look at but admire, not I wish I was past him. No, I want you to wish you knew me like the people I admire. I wish I know them. I wish I knew them. I wish I could have a conversation with them. I wish I could pick their brain and figure out what they had to deal with. And if I don't, I'll still ride my own lane. And I'll still make it. But I want to be that person for the people that aren't able to be that person for me, that I didn't get to fast enough. I want to be more available, more on social, more in the spaces where you can get me in a free way, and not that I'm selling workshops or anything like that. But as I progress, I think it's going to be a great storyline to watch for people who are looking to open up doors in unorthodox ways.
Gotcha. All right. So you got a couple of things working for you.
Mm-hmm.
You got your digital content creation. You got your welcome, your baby.
Mm-hmm.
You got your real daughter.
I have my real daughter.
All right. You've been putting your wave cap on all week.
Woo!
Your waves is popping. Your beard's connecting.
So you didn't use your Just for Men this week.
Yeah.
That's what's
so,
up, man.
What is next for Paris Pullen?
Just expanding on that. Everything that I touch is going to be interconnected in some way. The fragrance goes perfect with the fashion and style. That goes perfect with the influencer side, because now you want to see this guy host. It went perfect with the party thing, because Charlotte used to grow up when it comes down to fashion and nightlife and just a respect system or validation. Not even validation, but quality of life from guys and girls of I'm coming to the party like this. This is who I am. I didn't come to be Hollywood. I dress this well for myself. I do these things for myself. Charlotte's a very new city. It's growing. So there's no standards, no expectations. There's no celebrities that say this is how you do it when you in music. This is what checks the box. There's no Jeezys and T.I.s in Charlotte. They're in Atlanta. So you can go to Atlanta and pretend to be somebody and a rapper, but if you didn't get booked last week,
it means nothing.
Charlotte isn't. They're not doing that. So there's no level in any structure, whether it's music or art or web development or advertising or sports for that matter. And we have two major teams, a minor baseball team. NASCAR is huge here. Like, we don't have people, our celebrities don't come out and dictate who's in Charlotte. So I would like to assist in creating that standard, and not in the sense of saying, oh, I'm the one that dictates everyone, but I want them to come through this funnel.
Okay.
I want to help them reach as many people as possible if they're good enough.
Gotcha.
I want to put them in the position to create the best content. Like, there's no design houses for the new influencer. There's no studio for influencers like there are up and coming artists. You have to create homes for them to be able to come and create, and structures where they can sit down with consulting and brand teams and have an opportunity. So creating a factory that operates similar to music, like Bad Boy. I like to call it the modern day Bad Boy, and I'm being very out there with it when I say it, but in the infrastructure side of it is what I mean. Like, being able to come and I can move 25 influencers to Target with a campaign that we think would actually work across the board, and you got 25 different personalities on the top social media networks that are Time Warner, Digital K. Like, it's new television, it's new radio, and it's in your pocket. So to be able to have people with the top podcasts and go to those is power, and it's real results. And that's what it's about. That's what companies are continuing to pay for, is real results. So creating a brand where we have the Young Money or the Bad Boy or the Rockefeller Records of content creation and influencers, you call me to get the best influencer. Just like you would call Rick Ross to get Nick Mills or his manager or whoever's handling his booking or Rocknet.
All right.
I want to build the management, the creation, the merch, everything that goes along with launching a tour, an artist's career, because these people are artists at the end of the day. They're not singing. Some of them may be dancing. Some of them may be singing. But they're creating content that you're watching like a television show. That's art.
Gotcha.
And I want to be a part of moving that lifestyle forward, not only from a money and doors opening and innovative standpoint, but from a where can we go next, period.
Let me tell us, please.
I appreciate you, man. I really appreciate you doing this interview.
No worries.
Man.
I got one final question.
My man.
And it's a short story for me. So there is a Chinese monk.
Mm-hmm.
And he plants a tree.
Okay.
So he puts the seed in the ground, and every day he waters the seed and he tends the soil.
Mm-hmm.
I tell this story to my kids. I don't have kids, but my high school kids that I mentor.
You don't have any kids?
Every day, no, shut up. Every day he waters the seed and he tends the soil. And he's waiting for the seed to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So he waters the seed and he tends the soil every day. And it literally takes 5 years for the seed to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And on the first day of the 5th year, it finally pumps up out of the ground. And he understands that what he needs to do is continue to water the seed and tend the soil.
Mm-hmm.
So he continues to do it, and after a week, the seed grows 15 feet. So now he has a tree in 1 week of 15 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what he decides to do? He decides to continue to water the seed and tend the soil. And after 5 weeks, this tree grows 90 feet.
Mm-hmm.
My question to you, did this tree, did it grow in 5 years or 5 weeks?
It's rooted.
So,
There's a lot more to establish than it does to multiply.
Answer, 5 years or 5 weeks?
5 years.
It's been a pleasure, my brother. I love you.
Man,
Seriously.
I appreciate you. I really
You
do.
already know.
Oh, man.
In conclusion, y'all have a good night.
Good?
Oh, for real?
Oh, you been
I
gone?
feel like I'm in it now.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Where are you at? You got both of us in it?
Yeah. She got
I
y'all.
got both of y'all, but
You
I mean,
recording too?
you when you just sit back, you just came out of frame.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Aside from that, you
That's
can-
fine.
Let's do it.
Because that
Clean
can
up.
focus in on his answer.
Yeah. Let's clean this shit up and we out of here.